Roald Dahl's George's Marvellous Medicine. Contents: illustrated by Quentin Blake. The world's number one storyteller. Introducing George Cranky, Mr. Killy Cranky, Grandma Mrs. Cranky. The names are cranky. The other tales. So there are other books: the PFG Boy, Tales of Childhood Boy and Going Solo, Charles and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, The Complete Adventures of Charlie and Mr. Willy Wonka, Danny the Companion of the World, Going Solo, James and the Giant Peach, Matilda the Witches. Roald Dahl's George's Marvellous Medicine. Find out more about Roald Dahl visiting roalddahl.com. roalddahl.com. Contents: Grandma, The Marvelous Plan, George begins. Okay, the contents. Warning to the readers: do not try to make George's Marvelous Medicine yourself at home, it could be dangerous. Nice. Grandma, I'm going to go shopping into the village, George's mother said to George on Saturday morning. So be a good boy and don't get up to mischief. This was a silly thing to say to a small boy at any time. It immediately made him wonder what sort of mischief he might get up to. Yes, reverse psychology. And don't forget to give Grandma her medicine at 11 o'clock, the mother said. And then out she went, closing the back door behind her. Grandma, who was dozing in her chair by the window, opened one wicked little eye and said, Now that you heard what your mother said, George, don't forget my medicine. No, Grandma, George said, and just try to behave yourself for once while she is away. Yes, Grandma, George said. George was bored to tears. He did not have a brother or a sister. His father was a farmer, and the farm they lived on was miles away from anywhere, so there were never any children to play with. He was tired of staring at pigs and hens and cows and sheep. So children do require a constant stimulation. If not constant, they need a stream of stimulation which will enhance their growth of their mind and keep them out of boredom. Sometimes boredom is necessary and good, but sometimes they should be encouraged to get stimulations. And this could actually get very boring to just look at sheep and cows. He was especially tired. He was especially tired of having to go to live in the same house as the grisly old grunion of a grandma. Grunion of a grandma. Okay, this is a new word. Grunion. I'm going to make a note of it. I would love to use this word grunion myself. Grunion of a grandma. Grumpy. Is this. Does grunion means grumpy onion of a grandma? Looking after her all by himself was hardly the most exciting way to spend a Saturday morning. You can make me a nice cup of tea from the start. For a start. For a start. You can make me a nice cup of tea for a start. Grandma said to George. That'll keep you out of mischief for a few minutes. Yes, Grandma, George said. George couldn't help disliking Grandma. Complex character. She was a selfish, grumpy old woman. She had pale brown teeth and small puckered up mouth like a dog's bottom. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is savage. For a child's book. And this is why adults should read children's books sometimes, just to get an insight that writers should not have the preconception or prejudice that children cannot differentiate or understand complex characters and emotions, because these are the things which are going to develop that in when they are growing up. So George couldn't help disliking Grandma. She was a selfish, grumpy old woman. She had pale brown teeth and a small, puckered up mouth like a dog's bottom. How much sugar in your tea today, Grandma? George asked her. One spoon, she said, and no milk. Yeah, I hate it without milk. Most grandmothers are lovely, kind, helpful young ladies, but not this one. She spent all day and every day sitting in her chair by the window, and she was always complaining, grousing, crouching, crumpling, gripping about something or the other. Never once, even on her best day, did she smile at George and said, Well, how are you this morning, George? Or why don't you and I have a game of snakes and ladders? She was not very engaging. Or how was school today? She did not seem to care about other people, only about herself. She was a miserable old grouch. George spent George went into the kitchen and made Grandma a cup of tea with a tea bag. She put one spoon of sugar in it and no milk. He stirred the sugar well and carried the cup into the living room. Grandma sipped the tea. It's not sweet enough. Put more sugar in. George took the cup back into the kitchen and added another spoonful of sugar. He stirred it again and carried it carefully to the grandma. Where's the saucer? I won't have a cup without a saucer. She is grouchy. George fetched her a saucer. And what about a teaspoon, if you please? I've stirred it for you, Grandma. I stirred it well. I'll stir my own tea, thank you very much, she said. Fetch me a teaspoon. George fetched her a teaspoon. When George's mother or father were home, Grandma never ordered George about like this. It was only when she had him on her own that she began treating him badly. Oh my god. You know what's the matter with you? The old woman said, staring at George over the rim of the teacup with those bright, wicked little eyes. You are growing too fast. Boys who grow too fast become stupid and lazy. This is a loaded sentence. This is such a loaded sentence. I can talk so much about this. Okay. People who grow up fast become stupid and lazy. So, for example, in your teens and in your 20s, if you become too mature, achieve too much, one interpretation is that in the future, when you have achieved a person that a person achieves in their 30s and 40s, you do tend to become very, what's the word for it? You lose your innocence about adulthood and you do become lazy because you have achieved whatever you have to achieve. That's a very interesting sentence. But so, of course, but I can't. You are growing up too fast. Boys who grow up too fast become stupid and lazy. But I can't help it if I'm growing too fast, Grandma, George said. Of course you can. Growing is a nasty, childish habit. What? But we have to grow, Grandma. If we did not grow, we'll never be grown ups. Rubbish, boy, rubbish. Look at me. Am I growing? Certainly not. But you did once. Only very little, the old woman answered. I gave up growing when I was extremely small, along with all the other nasty childish habits like laziness and disobedience and greed and sloppiness and untidiness and stupidity. You haven't given up on all of those things, have you? Oh, this is projection. She is projecting whatever trauma that she has from her own childhood onto the small child. Oh, this is loaded. I'm so you haven't given up on any of these things, have you? I'm still only a little boy, Grandma. You're 8 years old, she snorted. That's old enough to know better. Oh my god. If you don't stop growing soon, it will be too late. Too late for what, Grandma? It's ridiculous, she went on. You're nearly as tall as me already. George took a good look at Grandma. She certainly was very tiny person. Her legs were so short she had to have a footstool to put her feet on, and her head only came halfway up the back of the armchair. Daddy says it's fine for a man to be tall, George said. Don't listen to your daddy, Grandma said. Listen to me. But how do I stop myself from growing? George asked her. Eat less chocolate, Grandma said. Does chocolate makes you grow? It makes you grow the wrong way, she snapped. Instead of up, you go down. Up instead of down. Up instead of down. Grandma sipped some tea but never took her eyes from the little boy who stood before her. Never grow up, she said. Always down. Yes, Grandma. And stop eating chocolate. Eat cabbage instead. Cabbage? Oh no, I don't like cabbage, George said. It's not what you like or what you don't like, Grandma snapped. It's what's good for you that counts. From now on, you must eat cabbage 3 times a day. Mountains of cabbage. And if it's got caterpillars in it, so much better. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ouch! Caterpillars gives you brain, the old woman said. Mummy washes them down the sink, George said. Mummy is as stupid as you are, Grandma said. She does not like cabbages don't stay doesn't taste of anything without a few boiled caterpillars in it. Slugs too. Not slugs. I couldn't eat slugs. How many pages are there in this chapter? So I'll do one chapter at a time. Mummy's as stupid as you. Not slugs. I couldn't eat slugs. Whenever I see a live slug on a piece of lettuce, Grandma said, I gobble it up quick before it crawls away. Delicious. Oh, she's a witch. Oh, she's a witch. She is a witch. She squeezed her lips together tight so that her mouth became a tiny wrinkled hole. Delicious, she said again. Worms and slugs and beetly bugs. Oh my god. You don't know what's good for you. You're joking, Grandma. I never joke. Beetles are perhaps the best of all. They go crunch. Ah, it's disgusting. Grandma, that's beastly. Yeah, she is beastly. She's a witch. The old hag grinned, showing those pale brown teeth. Sometimes, if you're lucky, she said, you get a beetle inside and the stem of a stick of a celery. That's what I like. Grandma, how could you? You find all sorts of nice things in sticks of raw celery. Sometimes it's earwigs. I don't want to hear about it, said George. A big fat earwig is very tasty, Grandma said, licking her lips. But you have got to be very quick. My dear, when you put one of those in your mouth, it has a pair of sharp nippers on its back end, and if it grabs your tongues with those, it never lets go. So you have got to bite the earwig first, chop chop, before it bites you. When I started reading this, I never expected. I never expected this book to go down this way. I mean, of course, I should have expected it, provided the weird book that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is, but shit, I never, I never thought it's going to go this direction. So you have got to bite the earwig first, chop chop before it bites you. George started edging towards the door. He wanted to get as far away as possible from this filthy old woman. Same, George, same. George started edging towards the door. He wanted to get as far as possible away from this filthy woman. You are trying to get away from me, aren't you? She said, pointing a finger straight at George's face. You're trying to get away from Grandma. Little George stood by the door, staring at the old hag in the chair. She stared back at him. Could it be, George wondered, that she was a witch? Yes, yes, my feelings, George, all of our feelings. He had always thought witches were only in fairy tales, but now he was not so sure. Come closer to me, little boy, she said, beckoning him to a with a horny finger. Okay, with a horny finger. Come closer to me, and I will tell you secrets. Oh, do not go near her. We don't want to listen to your secrets. George didn't move. Right choice, George, right choice. Grandma didn't move either. I know a great many secrets, she said, and suddenly she smiled. It was a very thin, icy smile, the, the kind that a snake might make before it bites you. Come over here to Grandma and she'll whisper secrets to you. Oh my god, she's a filthy witch. George took a step backwards, edging closer to the door. You mustn't be frightened of your old grandma, she said, smiling with icy smile. George took another step backwards. Yep, yep. Smart George, smart George. Some of us, she said, and all at once she was leaning forward in her chair and whispering a throaty sort of voice George has never heard her use before. Some of us, she said, have magic powers that can twist the creature of this earth into wondrous shapes. A tingle of electricity flashed down the length of George's spine. He began to feel frightened. Some of us, the old woman went on, have fire in our tongues, and sparks in our bellies, and wizardry in the tips of our fingers. Some of us know secrets that would make your hair stand straight up on end and your eyes pop out of their sockets. George wanted to run away, but his feet seemed to be stuck on the floor. We know how to make your nails drop off and teeth grow out of your fingers instead. Oh, she's a witch. George began to tremble. It was her face that frightened him the most of all, a frosty smile, the brilliant, unblinking eyes. We know how to have you wake up in the morning with long tail coming out of behind you. Grandma, he cried, stop! We know secrets, my dear, about dark places where dark things live and squirm and slither over each other. George made a dive for the door. It doesn't matter how far you run, he heard her say. You won't ever get away. George ran into the kitchen, slamming the door behind him. And that's the end of chapter 1. The next chapter would be Marvelous Plan, but that's for another session.